Meet Conan. He is a great kid born into a filthy rich family, but man, he got a pretty rough deal in life. Sure, he was blessed with some seriously insane magical abilities, but our hero was born totally blind. One day, though, he makes a massive decision. He figures, hey, if I wasn't given eyes, who cares? I've got magic, right? I'll just use it to make my own. So, the big question is, will Conan's crazy dream actually come true? Is he ever going to get to see this gorgeous world for himself? Let's dive in and find out. The story kicks off with a shot of this absolutely stunning garden, but right after that, our main guy, Conan, asks what it actually means to see. It hits hard because being blind, he has zero concept of it. His dad steps in and explains that seeing is all about taking in the colors and shapes of the world. Then he tells Conan something important. He needs to be proud of himself. Why? Because his blindness is actually the hero's scar, a legendary mark passed down from the holy knight Julian. But off to the side, we catch a maid whispering to someone else. She is saying that even if it is this glorious hero's scar, it doesn't change the fact that the poor kid is stuck in the dark. Unfortunately, Conan overhears the whole thing. After that little reality check, one of the maids escorts Conan out. Now here is a cool detail. Conan was actually born with a water crest. That is a huge deal because it means he can use magic, which definitely isn't something just anyone in this world can pull off. Next up, we meet his tutor. Her name is Jenny, and she is the one in charge of teaching him the ropes of magic from here on out. Conan gets straight to work and manages to conjure up a tiny ball of water. Jenny is pretty impressed and tells him he just created a water sphere about the exact size of an eyeball. The second she says the word eyeball, a light bulb goes off in Conan's head. It hits him. What if he could literally use his magic to craft his own working eyes? Cut to a bit later, and we see him grabbing some food. But even while he is eating, he is totally zoned out, kicking himself and wondering why on earth he didn't think of this genius idea way sooner. He snaps out of it for a second to ask his maid what is on the menu today, and she breaks down the meal for him. A little while after that, a woman named Lady Flora drops by. Her job is to read books out loud to him. Conan tells her that today, he wants to dive into the stories about the legendary holy knight Julian. He is super driven because he basically wants to soak up every single ounce of knowledge he can get his hands on. Through the story, we find out that way, back in the day, there was this absolutely brutal all-out war between the demon lord and the heroes. After a grueling battle, Holy Knight Julian finally took down the demon lord, but it cost him one arm and one leg in the process. Ever since that epic showdown, every kid born into the Hister bloodline comes into the world missing a body part. For some, it is an arm or a leg, but for Conan, it was his eyes. Kids born like this are actually believed to be reincarnations of the hero and are given the prestigious title of bearing the hero's scar. Fast forward a bit, and Conan is back on his grind, practicing his magic. He manages to multiply a single water ball into 4 separate ones. His maid is totally blown away and hypes up his crazy magical talent. But just a few seconds later, Conan collapses. It turns out he completely burned through his stamina. So, what is next for Conan? His main goal right now is to gain as much knowledge as possible and build up his stamina so he can handle stronger magic. He also realizes he needs to bulk up his physical strength. His maid, Iko, suggests he take up sword practice, and he totally agrees to give it a shot. Conan then thanks Iko for always taking such great care of him, which absolutely makes her day. In the next scene, we see Conan doing some sword practice with his new instructor, Oru. Right in the middle of it, Miss Jenny shows up because it is officially time for his magic lessons. She asks him if he wants to take a quick breather, but Conan brushes it off, saying he is perfectly fine. Once they get started, Miss Jenny is completely mind-blown, seeing how easily Conan pulls off the magic spell she just taught him in their last class. She thinks to herself that this kid has an absolute freakish talent for magic. Meanwhile, over at another palace, we catch up with Princess Malika. She has to go meet her fiancé today, which she is dreading because she really cannot stand the guy. But it is a direct order from the king, so she has no choice but to go. On her way there, she is lost in thought about how their marriage was arranged back when they were little kids for purely political reasons. Usually when they hang out, her fiancé is super depressed. He used to be helpless and could not do a single thing without someone holding his hand, and Melita really did not want to deal with that gloomy vibe again. But this time, when she meets up with Conan, it is a completely different story. His face is practically glowing. She is caught off guard and asks him why he seems so different. He tells her that he has fallen in love with magic. He then proceeds to completely wow Princess Malika by showing off his skills. After the mini-show, he holds out his hand and asks if she would like to listen to some stories with him today. Melita happily takes his hand, and the two of them head off to play. By the time she heads back home that evening, the princess is in an amazing mood. In the next scene, Conan is picking Lady Flora's brain, asking how he should act around Princess Malika so she will actually like him. We then cut back to Miss Jenny, who is still low-key, panicking about how naturally gifted this kid is. She realizes he is way more talented than she is, and will probably master everything she knows in no time. If that happens, she will be out of a job, which is a massive problem because tutoring Conan brings in some seriously big bucks. To save her sweet gig, Miss Jenny realizes she has to aggressively level up her own magic skills. The next day, Miss Jenny introduces Conan to something new, manipulating the actual shape of water. She conjures up 2 water spheres and tells Conan to touch them. When he does, he notices one is freezing cold and the other is hot. Miss Jenny explains that you can alter the different characteristics of water. Naturally, Conan picks up this new alteration technique with 0 effort. Miss Jenny is internally screaming, thinking, "It took me an entire night to figure that out, and he just nailed it in a split second." Later that night, Conan is still hyper-focused on his water shape and alteration spells. He is pushing himself to improve as fast as possible so he can finally see the world with his own eyes. The following morning, he uses his magic to heat up some water so Iko can make tea. Watching him, Iko casually mentions that being able to use magic is basically a divine miracle. Hearing that word, something just clicks in Conan's brain. Iko pinches his cheeks and asks, "What just got into you?" The water spills as he realizes that, for a brief second, he actually sensed colors through his magic. With Iko's help, he starts practicing by recognizing green and red apples. Even though he is completely blind, his magic is now allowing him to sense the world around him. Iko is absolutely thrilled for him and runs to tell his dad the good news. His dad is over the moon finding out his son can sense colors just by touching things. We also find out that Conan has been living in a separate house with Iko because he didn't want his condition to be a burden on his family. Now that he is making progress, his dad tells Iko it is time for them to move back into the main house. But Iko flat out refuses. She insists on staying right by Master Conan's side so she can watch him hustle for his dreams every single day. Before Miss Jenny arrives for his next lesson, Conan manages to use his magic to create a perfectly red-colored water sphere. But right at that moment, his family walks in. Hearing their voices breaks his concentration, and the water sphere pops, splashing water all over them. His mom takes one look at him doing magic and straight up faints from the shock. His dad ends up scolding Conan for the mess and docks Iko half her pay for 3 months as a penalty. Hearing she is losing that much cash, Iko practically faints too. Miss Jenny watches this whole circus from a distance and thinks, this kid is learning way too fast. I'm going to run out of material. But then it hits her. Wait a minute. If he is this insanely talented, he might actually have a shot at claiming the ultimate title, the Stellar Sorcerer. A little time jump happens, and Conan is now 9 years old. Seeing how much he has grown, his dad decides it is officially time to enroll him in school. He pulls Conan's older brother, Ishu, aside to tell him the plan. Since Conan has barely ever stepped foot outside their estate, his dad wants Ishu to tag along and watch his back. Back when they were little kids, Ishu took Conan out to play, and Conan ended up slipping on the stairs and taking a bad fall. Ishu wasn't able to catch him back then, but today he makes a hard promise to himself that he is going to protect and support his little brother, no matter what. Meanwhile, we see Conan actively reading a book by feeling the physical shapes of the words. He is currently studying hydromancy, which is basically a water-based form of fortune-telling. Hearing this, Iko playfully teases him, asking, "Oh, really? So can you look into the future and tell me who my husband is going to be?" Conan just smiles and says, "Well, you are a really great girl." "Honestly, anyone would be lucky to marry you," Conan says. "If I wasn't the son of a marquis, I'd make you my wife in a heartbeat." For context, Iko is actually 10 years older than Conan. Later on, we see Conan hanging out and studying with Lady Flora. Watching him, she thinks to herself about what a true gentleman he is and how he is such a smooth conversationalist. He knows exactly what to say and even throws a few compliments her way. So yeah, our boy definitely knows how to flirt. That night, Conan and Iko head over to meet his dad. Since it is pretty chilly out, Conan conjures up a warm water sphere to act as a little space heater, which Iko really appreciates. But as they are walking, Conan gets anxious and asks, "What does my dad actually want to talk to me about? Is he going to chew me out again for my past mistakes?" Iko reassures him, saying she highly doubts that. When they get to the main house, the butler, Balin, welcomes them in. As Conan walks in to see his dad, his older brother Ishu spots him. Ishu is taken aback seeing Conan walking around so effortlessly without needing anyone to guide him. He realizes right then that his little brother has already changed so much. After that, the two brothers sit down with their parents, and Conan's dad gets straight to the point. "Are you interested in going to school?" Conan shoots the idea down immediately, saying he has something way more important to focus on right now. His dad tells him to reconsider, pointing out that he would gain a ton of knowledge and that they even pulled some strings to get him special permission to attend. Things start to get a little heated, and they start bickering. Conan accuses his dad of just holding a grudge about what happened last time, but his dad insists that has nothing to do with it. Finally, his dad lays it all out. "Look, Conan, think about Princess Melissa. If you refuse to attend the Noble Academy, high society is going to look down on her." Hearing that, Conan immediately caves and agrees to go. His dad clarifies that he doesn't have to be stuck in a classroom for years. He just needs to pass the advancement exam, and the second he does, he will get his graduation certificate. And get this, Conan is actually going to take this exam alongside Ishu and Princess Malika, since those two are about to graduate soon anyway. After the decision is made, we see his mom getting straight to work, handling all the arrangements for his enrollment. Meanwhile, his dad pulls Ishu aside for a serious talk. He warns Ishu that there will be kids from other noble families at the academy who might try to give Conan and Princess Malika a hard time, so it is on him to watch their backs. The next day, when Malika finds out Conan is going to school with them, she is beyond thrilled. Since Conan has zero clue what school is actually like, Princess Malika takes it upon herself to give him the full rundown. But Conan is a little stressed about the social dynamics. He figures that when all the guys who have a crush on Princess Malika see him hanging out with her, they are going to be insanely jealous. Malika casually confirms this, mentioning that she has enough admirers to count on all 10 fingers. Cut to the next scene, and Conan is totally prepped and ready to head to school. He is looking incredibly sharp and charming. Ishu takes one look at him and is just completely dumbfounded, wondering when his little brother became so extra. After that, Conan and his brother hit the road to head to the academy. And guys, get this. Conan uses his magic to coat the carriage wheels in a thin layer of water, so the ride is completely smooth, basically acting like a set of shock absorbers. Ishu looks over and asks, "Are you nervous? This is the farthest you have ever been from home." Conan shakes his head. "Not really, but I know I always end up causing a lot of trouble for you. I used to be pretty weak, but I've bulked up and gotten stronger now." Ishu is genuinely happy to see just how much his little brother has grown up. But right after that sweet moment, Conan gets a little cocky, flashing a bit of newfound overconfidence. A short while later, they pull up to the academy. The second they step out of the carriage, Princess Melissa is right there waiting to welcome them. Conan immediately turns on the charm, saying, "Well, My day is already off to a fantastic start since I got to hear your sweet voice right early in the morning. Look at our boy flirting. The princess blushes and tells him he is looking really sharp today. Conan just grins and replies, I got all dressed up specially for you. Ishu is standing right there, completely speechless at his little brother's ridiculous riz, but honestly, Conan can sense the presence of a ton of people watching them. He turns to the princess and asks, Would you do me the honor of holding my hand and giving me the grand tour of the school today? Malika happily grabs his hand. Next up, we are introduced to one of the Academy's professors, Professor Cast, who is completely stressing out. She is super nervous because the Marquis's second son, the kid born with the hero's scar, is starting school today. She had heard a bunch of rumors that he was incredibly fragile and timid, but then Conan walks in. Professor Cast takes one look at how handsome and put together he is and is instantly impressed. She introduces herself and explains that she is going to be his personal guide for the day. Ishu and Malika tell the professor, We are leaving Conan in your care. Please look after him, before heading off to their own classes. Meanwhile, a bunch of other students are totally eavesdropping and watching Conan from the windows. From their gossip, we find out that it has been exactly 100 years since anyone was born with the hero's scar. Because of that, Conan is basically getting VIP treatment and special backing directly from the king. But not everyone is thrilled about it. One guy in the crowd is practically fuming. It is Princess Malika's older brother, Prince Line, surrounded by his annoying little posse of sidekicks. Cut back to Professor Cast and Conan sitting in a classroom where we finally get the lowdown on this advancement exam. It turns out the test is broken down into 5 separate sections. Once you pass all 5, you instantly score your graduation certificate. Usually, students get a decent break between each test, but Conan's exams are being fast-tracked back to back. Those orders came straight from the top, meaning the king and the marquise set it up this way. Professor Cast hands Conan his exam papers and tells him to just ask if he gets stuck on anything. Fast forward a bit, and we see the professor grading his test. She is absolutely floored when she realizes he nailed every single question flawlessly. After crushing his exam, Conan heads down to the cafeteria to grab some lunch with Princess Malika. But right in the middle of the hallway, Prince Line and his goons block their path. Things are clearly about to go south, but right on cue, Ishu steps up to back his brother. Prince Line glares at Melissa and says, I need to have a little private chat with this loser. When Ishu steps between them, the prince snaps, Why are you getting in the middle of this, Ishu? But while this whole standoff is happening, Conan low-key uses his magic. He secretly pulls some moisture from the air and gathers a pool of water right on the front of Prince Line's pants. The next second, everyone starts bursting out laughing, pointing and joking that the prince just peed his pants. Ishu and Malika instantly know Conan is the mastermind behind the prank. Totally humiliated, Prince Line books it out of there as fast as he can. Conan just plays completely dumb and casually says, All right, let's go get some food. I am craving a hamburger. Over lunch, we get some backstory. Prince Line is actually Malika's older brother by exactly 1 year, officially known as the 6th Prince Line Julian colony. Conan is genuinely confused about why her own older brother would treat her like garbage. He looks over at Ishu and mentions how incredibly lucky he is to have a big brother who actually cares about him. Meanwhile, Ishu is just sitting there internally panicking, wondering how on earth he is going to explain this whole pants-wetting incident to their dad. Conan, on the other hand, is just happily chowing down on his food without a care in the world. Ishu is silently praying that they can just graduate without kicking off a literal war. Meanwhile, in another part of the school, Prince Line is absolutely seething with rage. Conan finally asks, Why was Prince Line acting so aggressive toward me? Malika sighs and explains, Honestly, it is probably because of me. He is the 6th prince, and I am the 9th princess, so in the royal hierarchy, I am technically below him. But because I am engaged to you, a guy born with the hero's scar who is also a powerful sorcerer, my status within the royal family is skyrocketing. My brother is incredibly jealous that my rank is about to shoot right past his. Conan pauses and says, Oh man, Then I kind of did him dirty. I should probably go apologize. But Malika and Ishu both immediately shut that down, flat out telling him absolutely not. Cut to the next scene, and we are back to Conan practicing his magic with Miss Jenny. This time, Conan takes it to the next level and uses his magic to completely freeze a water sphere, turning it solid into ice. Miss Jenny praises him, saying, "Awesome job. You are really leveling up your magic skills." We then cut back to the academy. As Princess Melita walks up to meet Ishu and Conan, Conan puts on a little pout and says, "I am actually feeling a bit bummed out today. Since it is my last day at school, this is the last time I will ever get to hear your gorgeous voice." Malika just laughs and replies, "You are my fiancé. You can hear my voice literally whenever you want." After that, the three of them head into a packed classroom to take their final exam. We also get a quick flashback showing that during his previous test sessions, Conan actually spent a ton of time chatting up Professor Cast. They talked about everything from how she landed her teaching gig to all the juicy details of her love life. Hearing about this, Ishu and Melita just look at each other, totally bewildered, thinking, "Wait, what on earth were those two even talking about?" Right then, a group of students walks over and asks Princess Malika if she is going to introduce them. Conan takes the lead and introduces himself, saying, "Hey, I am Conan, Princess Malika's fiancé and Ishu's little brother." He then adds, "Honestly, it is really cool to see that Malika and my brother actually have friends here at school. I was starting to think they were total loners." Malika chimes in, explaining, "I actually asked everyone to give us a little space so we could spend some quality time together." Conan smiles and thanks the princess, saying, "I am genuinely just happy that you and my brother have such a solid squad here. I don't really have any friends myself, but it doesn't bother me much." Meanwhile, we cut over to Prince Line. One of his lackeys reminds him that it is time for the exam, but Line brushes it off, arrogant as ever, saying, "The professor can wait a few minutes." A little while later, right as the exam is about to kick off, Conan and Malika are sitting next to each other. Suddenly, Prince Line squeezes right in between them. We get a little context here. Nobody really respects Line. At the end of the day, he is just another prince in a long line of them, and he knows it. That insecurity is the main reason he walks around constantly ticked off. Conan totally throws him off, though. He reaches out, grabs Line's hand for a handshake, and introduces himself. Line snaps, "Let go of my hand right now." Conan just grins and says, "Come on, brother-in-law. I am your future family after all." Line glares at him and demands, "Who gave you permission to touch me?" Conan completely ignores the attitude and says, "Wow, you have a really deep, manly voice. Even without seeing you, I can just feel that you look incredibly rugged and handsome." The prince looks around, bewildered, asking, "Is this kid out of his mind?" But believe it or not, Prince Line is actually a little flattered. He is so taken aback by the sudden praise that he literally starts blushing. Conan smoothly wraps it up, saying, "Anyway, it is genuinely great to finally meet you, brother-in-law." Right after that, the exam officially begins. In the very next scene, the results are already in. The professor draws a giant flower on the chalkboard, signaling that every single student in the class passed the test. The whole room erupts in cheers. Princess Malika and Ishu are especially hyped because this means all three of them get to graduate together. After saying his goodbyes, Conan heads out to catch his ride home. But right before he leaves, he turns to Professor Cast and slickly asks, "So, what are your thoughts on my older brother?" The professor just shakes her head, thinking to herself, "What goes through this kid's mind?" Meanwhile, we catch a glimpse of Prince Line, and it turns out he is actually genuinely impressed by Conan now. The next day, Conan is back on his grind, practicing his magic. He takes a single sphere of water and effortlessly multiplies it into 10 separate orbs. Then, he decides to really show off his artistic side. He has gotten so insanely good at manipulating his magic that he reshapes the water into a perfectly detailed bird and makes it literally fly up into the sky. Watching this, Miss Jenny is absolutely dumbfounded. They take a quick break, and Miss Jenny sits him down. She looks at him seriously and says, "Since you are about to graduate, there is something I need to tell you today. And honestly, it might be a pretty big shock." Conan gasps playfully and asks, "Wait, don't tell me. Are you secretly the goddess of nights, and now you have to return to your home dimension?" Miss Jenny shakes her head and drops the truth bomb. "No, Conan. The truth is, I literally have nothing left to teach you. In fact, I have been out of material for a while now. I have already taught you every single thing I know, and you soaked it up way too fast. At this rate, you are going to completely surpass my magic skills in no time." Conan smiles warmly and says, "Miss Jenny, I am genuinely just so grateful that you managed to teach me even more than you actually knew yourself. Because of you, I have a whole new sense of hope for my life." Behind the scenes, Miss Jenny had been racking her brain, coming up with all sorts of random, tricky little exercises just to stretch out her lessons and keep her high-paying job a little bit longer. But then Conan completely misreads the situation and innocently asks, "Wait, is it because your salary is too low? Are you not getting paid enough? Is that why you're quitting on me?" Conan asks. Miss Jenny shakes her head. "No, that's not it at all. I literally just have nothing left to teach you. I can't do anything more to help you level up. Your magical abilities have totally outgrown mine." Conan pleads with her, saying he doesn't want her to leave and that he wants her to stay on as his teacher. As he's talking, he subconsciously conjures a bunch of animals made entirely out of water. Still, Miss Jenny stands her ground, insisting she really can't teach him anymore. As she walks away, she thinks to herself, "Conan seriously has the potential to become a cerulean sorcerer. God really blessed him with an insane amount of talent." Meanwhile, Iko breaks the news to Conan that Lady Flora has also handed in her resignation since he is graduating. Hearing this, Conan says, "I'll have to write her a letter to thank her for everything." Iko immediately jumps in. "Hey, if you're writing her a letter, ask her if she knows any tall, handsome-built guys who make good money, and tell her to send them my way." Conan is completely taken aback. "Wait, are you planning on leaving me too?" Iko sighs. "I don't want to leave you, but a girl's gotta go out and find her future husband eventually." Conan groans. "Man, what is even happening? Everybody is abandoning me." "I am definitely not asking her to find you a handsome guy. Sorry, not happening." Cut to the next scene, and the family is having dinner. His dad brings up the current situation. "According to Miss Jenny, we need to track down an expert sorcerer to handle the rest of your training." Ishu chimes in, mentioning he heard rumors at school about an extraordinarily powerful royal sorcerer named Zonlif. His mom asks, "Wait, Zonlif? I've heard of him too. He is supposed to be incredibly skilled." His dad quickly shuts the idea down, explaining that inviting a royal sorcerer to their home is basically impossible. Royal sorcerers report directly to the royal court, meaning only the king and top-tier officials have the authority to give them orders. Even getting a face-to-face meeting with one is ridiculously hard. Conan pitches a workaround. "How about this? Next time you head to the capital, I tag along. I'll meet this royal sorcerer, work some of my magic, and hustle my way into becoming his apprentice." Conan thinks his plan is flawless, but his dad is definitely not on board. However, Conan manages to get his mom on his side. She flashes his dad the classic puppy dog eyes, completely melting his resolve. Let's be real. Who could say no to a beautiful wife? Definitely not his dad. He caves and agrees to take Conan to the royal palace. Honestly, Ishu is the only guy in this entire family with a functioning brain. In the next scene at the royal palace, we see a royal sorcerer getting word that a highly talented kid wants to become an apprentice. We also find out this sorcerer is actually Princess Malika's older sister. Conan has officially caught her attention. Soon after, Conan and his dad are heading in for their meeting. They actually managed to score clearance because the royal sorcerers were genuinely intrigued by Conan's abilities. While they wait, Conan uses his magic to craft a cat entirely out of water. He has gotten so good that he is creating solid-looking objects now, whereas before, his water creations used to be completely transparent. He notices that his dad absolutely loves the cat. The catch? His dad can't actually own a real cat because his wife is strictly a dog person. So Conan casually suggests, why don't we just keep cats outside the mansion? According to Iko and Princess Malika, having outdoor cats is actually seen as a huge noble status symbol. His dad is completely sold on the idea. Right then, someone walks up to welcome them. It is the second princess, Rasha. She smiles and says, "Oh, so you must be my future brother-in-law. I am genuinely so happy to finally meet you. Malika talks about you all the time." She notices the cat and asks, "Oh, you brought a cat with you?" In a split second, Conan dispels his magic, turning the cat back into a puddle of water, which visibly breaks his dad's heart. Watching this effortless display, Rasha thinks to herself, "Wow, he is way more talented than I even expected." The plan is set. Princess Rasha is going to escort Conan to the Black Tower, while his dad goes off to have a meeting with the king. That means Conan will have to catch a ride home by himself later. Conan smoothly tells his dad, "Don't worry, I already booked a reservation for you at that restaurant where you first took Mom and confessed your love to her." As Princess Rasha leads him toward the Black Tower, Conan is chatting her ear off, having a great conversation about magic. Our boy definitely loves to talk. During the walk, we get a quick lore drop. The emperor has a grand total of 17 kids, 7 princes, and 10 princesses. Usually the throne automatically goes to the firstborn prince. But in the Julian Empire, the crown is actually awarded based on merit and achievements, not just birth order. Suddenly, Conan stops dead in his tracks. He can sense an absolutely massive, overwhelming amount of magical power radiating straight from the Black Tower. Since the Black Tower is basically the main hub where all the royal sorcerers live and work, that is exactly where they head. Next up, we see Conan coat the bottoms of his shoes with a super thin layer of water, letting him glide and slide forward effortlessly. Princess Rasha gives him a heads up, warning him not to say anything stupid that could get him into trouble. In response, Conan just casually coats her shoes with water too. The two of them start ice skating down the halls, just having an absolute blast. But their little joyride gets interrupted when a knight named Dario spots their antics and literally chases them down to put a stop to it. After that, Conan officially meets Blindness III, who is the Grandmaster of the Royal Sorcerers. The guy has an insane amount of magical power, which Conan can easily sense right off the bat. Blindness explains that sorcerers can have one of 7 different types of crests: fire, water, earth, wind, light, darkness, and null. On top of that, every single crest has 5 different ranks. We know Conan rocks a water crest with 2 ranks, and it turns out Princess Rasha is a 2-star sorcerer as well. Conan does some quick math in his head and figures that if his magical power is a single slice of cheese, Blindness' power is the entire wheel. The Grandmaster mentions he is actually a 4-star sorcerer. Conan then asks if a person's magic type affects their rank. Londi explains there is no solid proof of that, but at the end of the day, raw magical power is what matters most across the board. Now the real fun begins. The Grandmaster wants to put Conan to the test because he is seriously impressed by his potential. Conan is hyped, thinking that if he passes, he might just become Londi's apprentice. We see a student use his magic to conjure up a bunch of water spheres. Seeing this takes Conan right back to his first lesson with Miss Jenny, where he learned there are 2 ways to do this. You can either create your own water or manipulate the water that is already around you. Conan focuses up and tries to hijack that student's water spheres. He struggles with it at first, putting in a ton of effort, but slowly, the spheres start pulling toward him. Right then, the Grandmaster calls off the test. Conan only managed to snag 2 of the spheres. But here is the kicker. The student is completely blown away that Conan managed to pull away a single one. Even the Grandmaster praises him. Suddenly, all the students start bickering over whose apprentice Conan should be, but the Grandmaster wants to test him a little more first. Conan gets creative and makes a massive, super stiff bouncy trampoline out of water. The Grandmaster actually starts jumping on it, and soon, everyone wants a turn. Conan points out that he could increase the elasticity even more to launch them all the way to the 2nd floor, but the Grandmaster shuts it down, joking that if they do that, They won't be able to go home today. Then, Princess Rasha asks Conan if he can only make animals with his magic, or if he can make human shapes too. Conan focuses and creates a water doll shaped like Eiko. It isn't perfect since he is still experimenting with making things fly, and it looks a little rough. But the Grandmaster and Rasha want to see it in action, so Conan makes it fly. Unfortunately, it completely freaks out one of the maids. Soon enough, Knight Dario and a bunch of other folks show up to file a complaint, forcing Conan and Rasha to apologize for all the chaos. As the sun goes down, the Grandmaster decides to call it a day, suggesting they talk more about magic over lunch next time. Conan officially passed his exam, and the Grandmaster promises to personally find him a great teacher, which makes Conan incredibly happy. Before they leave, the Grandmaster asks Conan what his ultimate goal is. Conan tells him he wants to use magic to create his own eyeballs. The Grandmaster is impressed and calls it a great goal. Cut to the next scene, and Conan's dad is absolutely furious. He just found out about all the crazy stuff Conan pulled today, and Conan is genuinely terrified. Princess Rasha tries to lighten the mood with a little magic trick, but his dad is dead serious. He lectures Conan, telling him that magic needs to be used carefully, otherwise someone could get hurt. He reminds him that with great power comes great responsibility. Conan sincerely apologizes for messing around. After that, his dad heads home, but Conan stays behind because he has a dinner date with his fiancée at the exact same restaurant where his dad proposed to his mom. To help him get there faster, Princess Rasha creates a massive water sphere for them to ride on. Conan is a little hesitant, saying he shouldn't sit so close to her in case her fiancé gets the wrong idea. Rasha just pulls him in, saying she doesn't have a fiancé, and they take off. They are flying at breakneck speed and reach the capital in no time, but they end up crashing right after. Thanks to the soft water sphere, they are totally fine. They are both laughing, thrilled that their flight experiment actually worked. But their fun is cut short when an angry Knight Dario shows up again. That makes 3 crazy stunts in one day. Meanwhile, Princess Malika is getting ready for their dinner date, nervously wondering if Conan will like her dress. Back to Conan and Rasha, who are currently getting chewed out by Knight Dario. Cut back to Malika, who is getting super anxious since this is their first real date. The second a servant announces that Conan has arrived, Malika tries to play it cool, but immediately sprints over to him. When they meet, Conan turns on the charm, telling her that even though he can't see the moon or her beauty, he knows for a fact the moon doesn't even come close to how beautiful she is. He takes her hand, leaving her maids totally swooning over Master Conan. They head into the restaurant and have a great time chatting over dinner. Conan spills all the details about his crazy day at the Black Tower, mentioning he passed his exam, but still doesn't know who his teacher will be. He compliments the delicious food, while Melitza is just completely lost in his words. Then Conan tells her that right now, planning a nice dinner is the most he can do. But once they are married, he will make sure every single day is as amazing as tonight. The servants nearby practically melt hearing this, and Melitza blushes hard. Later that night, back in her own mansion, she is still blushing just thinking about what he said. The next day, Conan is busy doing some chores when Eiko calls him over for help. He uses his magic to help her wash the laundry. He mentions he needs to go write a report, but Eiko insists that he needs to spend some time outside in the sun too. She explains that he needs the vitamin D so his body can grow big and strong. Conan smirks and says he heard girls are way more into tall guys. Eiko tells him that might be true, but she likes him exactly the way he is, whether he is short, chubby, or tall. Conan plays along, sighing that he really likes her too, but it is a shame he is already engaged to the princess. We then just see the two of them chilling outside together. Meanwhile, the scene shifts over to the Black Tower. We see this guy frantically searching for his senior. As soon as he throws open a door, he finds the room completely trashed. Lying right in the middle of the mess is his senior, Zion. Zion groans and asks if the guy seriously came all the way here just to ruin his sleep. The guy, Victor, tells him that the Grandmaster is calling for him. Back at the estate, Conan gets a letter letting him know that they finally found him a teacher, and his name is Zion. The second Iko hears that, she totally loses her mind. She starts gushing about how Master Zion is incredibly handsome, sweet, and ridiculously popular. Literally every single girl in the Julian Kingdom knows who he is. After that, Iko is practically bouncing off the walls, super hyped to finally meet him.